Hello, we are no longer My Drunk Tanya. The series that I'm doing, translating the Tanya, formerly known as My Drunk Tanya, is now called I Really Don't Know the Tanya. And it goes like this. In chapter 22, רק שהתורה דיברה כלשון בני אדם ונקרא בתורה דיבורו של מקום ברוך הוא בשם דיבור ממש כדיבורו של אדם, ושבאמת כך הוא דרך ירידת המחשבה וירידת והמשכת החיות לתחתונים בצמצומים רבים ועצומים. So he's saying that the speech, with the way we speak, is akin to the way God speaks, and that's a wondrous thing. And the only way that it could come down to us, that we could say the word of God, is if the infinite constricts and limits himself tremendously. How can you limit the infinite? It would take an infinite limitation. That's a conundrum that I won't get into because it boggles my mind. So I'm going to skip down, and it says, so God has a desire to effuse his life force to everything. So he gives clearly from the front of God, he wants to give to from his hidden will. He wants to the front of his will, it emanates into the good. But so how does evil exist? Evil should not even exist, because God would want to take it out. So why it's God? So we see that God sustains evil because we see things in the world that we call evil. Again, the example we used yesterday was Stalin. How does God sustain a killer on par with Hitler, or perhaps greater even, like Joseph Stalin? May his name be erased. It's because God also sustains from what we call the back of his will. Everything has a front and a back. So Sitra Achvar Tuma hi Tovat Hashem asher sana ve'enu mashpia lachiyut mipnimiyut ratzon v'chefzo amiti asher chafetz ba chas v'shalom ki'im leman desharde batar katafoy lesono. It's like giving something. If you're giving out gifts and you have to give to everybody, and there's one person you hate, you kind of they turn your back, so to speak. People they give like don't want to give to him. So, but he gives. It's like giving grudgingly from the back, from behind one's shoulder, literally, to the one he hates. Shelo b'rtzono, against his will. Rak kedei lahanish et harashayim liten schar tov letzadikim. So why does he do it? He does it in order to give reward to the righteous and to punish the wicked. He gives goodly reward to the righteous, the achvian, the sitra achra, in order to subdue, and the tzadikim's job is to subdue the other side. So the force that sustains the evil is the back of God's supernal heavenly will. הנה רצון העליון בבחינת פנים הוא מקור החיים ומחיה את כל העולמות לפי שאינו שורה כלל על הסטרא אחרא, וגם בחינת אחריים של רצון העליון אינו מלובש בתוכה ממש, אלא מקיף עליה מלמעלה. So the Tanya just said that the heavenly will in the aspect of the front, the otherwise known as the inside, the front is akin to the inside and the back is akin to the outside. So we'll say inside. So from the high heavenly will, the inside of the high heavenly will that's the source of life that vivifies all of the worlds, and since it doesn't rest whatsoever on the other side, what we call evil, so the front does not go at all to evil. The inside doesn't go to evil, just the outside. And also, even the outside. Oh, but here he says something different. He says even the outside of the heavenly will is not dressed within the other side, the evil side. And it's not really dressed within it. But rather the outside hovers above it a little bit. So if you have a place of evil, even the outside of God's heavenly will isn't really in it. It's just around it, somehow allowing it to exist. L'chachi makom amita v'atuma Hashem yishmarenu. That's called the place of death and impurity. May God protect us from it. Ki ma'at mizer or v'chiyut sheyoneket mekabelet l'tocha mib'chinet acharayim di kedusha shelamala hu b'chinet galut mamash. So that little bit of the outside of the heavenly will that is associated with the evil in order to sustain it and keep it into the world, that is mamish in English is really completely the aspect of exile. The aspect of exile is when God's energy, even though it's coming from the back of His heavenly will, is associated with evil. That's called exile. Betocha besod galuta shchina hanal. That's the mystery of the exile of the divine presence. Lachen nikra b'shem Elohim acharim. That's why we call it foreign gods. Shehi avodah zara mamash kfira b'achduto shel melech malchei melechim hakadosh baruch hu. That's called idolatry. That's called other gods. That's called denial in the oneness of the King of all kings. May He be blessed. Ki me'achar she'or v'chiyut dekedusha hu b'bechinat galut b'tocha. Since the light and the life force of holiness is in exile within it, eina betela klal gabe kedusha tekadosh baruch hu. Therefore it's not nullified whatsoever before the Holy One, blessed be He. It's still there. V'adorabba. So what is not nullified? So in other words, there's an aspect of a vivifying force, a force of holiness, which is associated with God's essence. You'd think it would be totally nullified before the infinite expanse of God's essence, the way a candle would be nullified within the sun. But it's not. So how could this be? Eina betela klal legabei kedushat hakadosh baruch hu v'adarabba magbia atzma kenesher lomar ani v'afsi od v'kamamar yaorli v'ani asitiv. Oh, we're talking about the holiness exiled within next to the evil. So he's saying, I'll just read the translation here of the excellent translation of Rabbi Nisan Mindel, who writes that I'll just quote him for the time being. Therefore, it is also termed other gods, since it constitutes actual idolatry and denial of the unity of the Supreme King of Kings, the Holy One, blessed be He. For inasmuch as the light and life of holiness are, as it were, in a state of exile within it, it does not surrender itself in any degree to the holiness of the Holy One, blessed be He. It stays stubbornly in its denial. Right? On the contrary, it surges upward like an eagle, saying, quote, I am, and there is nothing besides me. That's a quote from Isaiah, and like it says in Zephaniah. Or as the utterance, the way Pharaoh described himself, my river is mine own, and I have made myself. Another translation, I would say, the Nile is mine, and I have made myself, is the correct translation. Yes. Lachen amru Razal she gasuta ruach shkula ka'avodah zara. That is why the rabbis of blessed memory said that arrogance, crudeness, and arrogance truly compares with idolatry. Mamash, truly. Ki ikar v'shorash avodah zara hu ma shenechshav ledavar bifnei atzmo. Because the essence and root of idolatry is that which is regarded as a thing unto itself, separate from God. Nifrad mikadushato shel makom, separate from the omnipresent. Velo kafira b'Hashem legamre k'di'itel be'gemara. So, the essence and root of idolatry is that which is regarded as a thing unto itself, separate, sundered from the divine holiness. It does not imply an outright denial of God, as it is stated in the Gemara, that the heathens call God the God of all gods. So even the idolaters admit that there is a God. They say He's the God of all the gods that we're serving. Ela shegam hem mechashvim atzmam leyesh, But really, the thing is, they also consider themselves as something separate. They consider themselves full of themselves, that they made themselves. And in that way they separate themselves from the Holy One, blessed be He. Because, therefore, that's why the divine presence doesn't really rest on them, because they don't nullify themselves before it. Because the heavenly holiness only rests on something that nullifies itself before it. It's only when one makes himself like dust before God can God come and rest upon it. We have to nullify ourselves in order to open up the world of godliness and be associated with it in an internal sense. That has been mentioned. Therefore, nikriim ture de peruda. Therefore, they are called. The Zohar calls them peaks of separation. V'hare zo kfira b'achduto. Peaks of separation is the term the Zohar uses for denial of God's oneness and denial of the truth of God. Dekula kameh kalachashiv, and not recognizing that everything is nothing before God. Ubatel be'emet lo yitbarach, and totally nullified before Him. Ulirotzono hamachaye et kulam umahave otam me'ayin liyesh tamid. And the truth is that God sustains. They deny the truth that God sustains everything in His heavenly will, that gives life. He gives life to everything, and He brings everything into being, ex nihilo, bringing into being from complete non-existence, constantly. Now, chapter 23 in the Tanya says the following: V'im kol hanizkar le'el yuvan u'mvar hetev b'tosefet bi'or ma she'amru b'zohar de'oraita v'kudshabrichu kula chad. So that will come to understand what it means that God and the Torah are absolutely the same thing. Ubetikunim perosh de ramach pikudim inun ramach evarim de malka. So the picturesque description of the Zohar says that the same way that there are 248 positive commandments, so too there are 248 limbs of the divine presence, so to speak. Lefisha hamitzvot ten pnimiut ratzon elyon. Why do we compare we use an anthropomorphism saying that, as it were, the divine presence has a body. So that means that the body has like arms and legs and a heart and a brain and all the different organs in the body. And that our sages, when they in their ancient anatomy, they divided, the way they counted the parts of the body, added up to 248. We also happen to have 248 positive commandments. So what's the common denominator between the two? That the commandments are the inside of the heavenly will, v'chefzo hamiti, and they're His true desire, which is hamulubash b'kol olamot, which is dressed in all of the worlds. Elyonim v'tachtonim, they of the upper worlds and the lower worlds, v'lahachayotam, ki kol chiyutam v'shif'am talui b'maseh hamitzvot, because all of the life of the worlds and all of their abundance, all the sustaining force of all the worlds is dependent upon the mitzvot that are done below, as is known. Nimsashe ma'aseh mitzvot v'kiyuman hu levush hapnimi lepnimiut ratzon elyon. Therefore, the practical performance of the mitzvot in this world, putting on tefillin, keeping Shabbos, refraining from prohibitions. These practical performance that we do in this world that are very, very, very readily at hand to do by every Jew. They are, in essence, actually sustaining the world. Their existence is the inner garment on the inside of the heavenly will. And from the performance of the mitzvot, we draw light and sustenance to all of the worlds. Lachen nikra evre de malka. Therefore, they're called the limbs of the king. Kamoshe evre guf adam em levush lenafsho. So the same way the different parts of the body are a garment for his soul, ubetelim legamri elea, and the body is nullified before the soul, because if we didn't have the soul, the body would not exist. Legamre elea mikol v'kol, completely nullified. Ki miyad she'ole b'ritzno shel adam lifshot yado o raglo hen nishmot lirtzono. Because when you want to raise your arm, that is heeding the call of the nefesh, the soul that vivifies the world. That's enough Tanya for today. God bless and have a pleasant evening.